Hello, and welcome to another episode of eBay Scavengers. This is episode number 95, and we are excited to be interviewing Matt, who is a fellow eBay seller, but he also happens to be a full-time USPS mail carrier. So we're very excited to interview him and talk all about the mail and how he runs his store.
So, Matt, this is a very exciting day for us because we have been trying since the beginning of the podcast to find someone who works at the post office who would talk to us. It has been easy just because, either people aren't very savvy with the internet or they just don't want to talk about the post office.
But the fact that you know about eBay and the post office is an amazing combination.
We're psyched, so we're glad you're here.
Awesome. Well, glad to be here, guys.
Yeah. So can you just tell us real quick, so how long haven't you been a carrier? Because did you actually go out and deliver mail?
Yeah, I've been carrying since 2001, so 13 years or so.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
How old were you when you got started?
I was 26 when I got started.
It's funny, I think I told you, it seems like everyone around here seems a lot older in the post office, so it's really interesting to meet a younger person that is...
people just hold on to the job, and they don't open up to hire that often. So when they do, they also get a ton of veterans and people with military preference. So those people usually go to the front of the line, and they're also a bit older. So it kind of they keep the workforce old that way, I guess.
So can you explain then, what is your workday like at the post office?
Go in, punch the clock, and start sorting mail, like letters, flats, magazines, stuff like that. I pretty much put it all in order. Some of it comes in order from the plant, and at that point, we get our parcels and hit the street. Out to the street we go.
I've always wondered these days what percentage of your mail is actually letters and magazines versus the packages.
That number is growing closer and closer. I was actually thinking of that not too long ago. Right now, there's way more, letter mail and magazines and parcels, but there's been a huge uptick in that in parcels, especially with Amazon and with eBay. It seems the way eBay's created this relationship with the post office, that's the only way people get stuff shipped from eBay, it seems like. I guess you can get it UPS and FedEx, but... How
have you seen online sales and, eBay? How has that affected your work from 2001?
Oh, well, it's put more packages on my route every day, and a lot of people from at home work at home, and they get quantity of product, and then they're shipping it back out within a couple weeks, here and there. So, I see it from all sides,
So on your route, how many houses are you dealing with or addresses?
The approximate route has about 650 deliveries.
Oh.
So that's just you dealing with 600 a day?
Yep, per day.
Really? That's a lot.
It seems like if each person got only one package, it seems like you wouldn't be able to put it all into a truck.
No, yeah, and there's been days like that where you feel like everyone's getting one package each. But.
Right.
Does that happen where around it's Kristins time, you're having to go back and forth and fill up again, or how's that work?
Around Christmas time, they bring people in super early in the morning, and they're out there delivering parcels before we even get there. So. It might be 5:30 in the morning, and there's people dropping boxes off at other people's, customers' steps.
So you were telling me earlier about the post office's ability to ship online. It's click and ship. Did you want to talk about that a little bit, or?
Click and ship, it varies from the way we see it on eBay versus USPS.com. Because through USPS.com you can't click and ship with first class or parcel post, only priority and express.
Right.
So we kind of have a little bit of a luxury being eBay sellers that we can use first class, media mail, parcel post, Parcel Select. That relationship that they've created, that online interface, that's mind-blowing if you ask me. It's it really is great technology.
We always tell people on the podcast, if you aren't shipping online, you're crazy.
Yeah, I could not live without eBay labels. It makes... I can't imagine bringing all my stuff and waiting in line at the post office with 25 boxes.
Oh, and that's if you had small things. Could you imagine big things? Let's move the scale over here and get this weighed. I mean, just
No.
bringing it in and dropping it off is so easy.
I mean, do you have any kind of idea if there are still a lot of people that bring in packages who sell on Amazon and eBay and try and, and
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, there's just some people they sell one thing here, a couple things there, and it's if they're not doing a quantity, it's easy just to pack something up and bring it over to the post office, wait in line, and ship it out. I think the big thing is the discount that we get. By it makes a big difference.
You not only work at the post office, but you actually have an eBay store as well, right?
Yeah, my eBay store is MVC Auctions. I don't know. I have a name too, the Vintage Find. I'm not sure how if that comes up in search, but
right. That's cool. So it's really awesome. So you're able to kind of see it's both sides of the coin,
Yeah. I like selling. I've been selling longer than I've been at the post office. So it's kind of it's kind of back in the day when I first started with the post office, thinking, I can just bring this into work and I'll just go wait in line and ship it out. This is so easy.
Yeah, that is nice.
Yeah, it's convenient.
So what do other postal workers? I know that's a broad term, but how do they feel about the rise of online shipping and all the business coming their way?
It's something that they need to accept. It's coming. Most of them are cool with it. Some of the older carriers that are not used to it, it might be, wow, look at all the packages we have now. For the most part, everyone's kind of accepting of it because it's revenue. It's the new post office.
Yeah. To me, it's amazing when I read the articles and I hear the radio stories about how the Postal Service is really in tough times, because it's a weird thing where it is a private industry, but the government still has kind of their hand on it, even though they don't give them any money. So it seems like This is a very kind of delicate time. Yeah,
they have all the control, but we're privately funded. So, no taxpayer dollars go towards us. And there's been a lot in the media in the last couple of years about the whole pre-funding of our retirement plans and all that. That's more of a political thing, but that is kind of where the post office has found their financial distress.
Right.
And the click and ship, the packages in general has really, turned that around, which is nice.
I feel that the eBay packages are just all the online packages. It seems like that is a thing that could really save the post office if that keeps it growing, because we've done the comparisons. If I try to send a package through a FedEx versus the actual post office, FedEx is
it's ridiculously expensive.
5 times more. I don't know how the post office can do it. It's amazing.
I think the mentality is that we got to go there anyways. We're going there every day. So get the packages to the local offices, and the carriers will bring them out just as they would their mail.
And now, doesn't that happen where doesn't FedEx kind of have a partnership with the Postal Service where the Postal Service will do the last mile on some?
Yeah, exactly. And UPS does it as well.
Okay.
I think it's called Smart Mail. There's stuff, they have different terms for it between FedEx and UPS, but both of them, we'll see packages from UPS that are Amazon orders, and they come in the last mile, Smart Post, and we take them from there. UPS will drop them off right at our building.
If you hear people say things like, the Postal Service is just, old-fashioned, they just need to close it up and just go right to a FedEx. Could FedEx even do that? I mean, could they even just start taking things to people's homes directly?
No, I don't. It's all manpower. Last I had heard, the post office is the second largest employer in the nation to Walmart. So, if you have that type of manpower, I guess, but.
Right, and they don't have that compared.
No.
I mean, the post office just has such an amazing infrastructure.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's just, I look at my tracking all the time and I'm like, yep, that's already in Los Angeles. Like, I didn't even blink and it was there. I mean, I know FedEx and UPS have infrastructure like that, but like you said, the manpower to every single house in the United States. I mean, that's amazing. It's amazing.
Right. It's all there. And I mean, issues do occur with any delivery type service. We see it. I personally see it if I ship something and, it gets hung up somewhere for a few days, but that's going to happen regardless of the carrier.
Yeah. I mean, we've shipped over 10,000 items in the past 5 or 6 years now, and I could probably count the packages on my hand of the ones that have had serious problems. Other than that, it's been flawless. It's incredible.
Yeah, when you read the horror stories online, it's because people don't post the good stories. So if you're
Of
gonna,
course.
you're only gonna read bad stuff when you go onto eBay support, or even if you just type in Google, USPS postage issue.
Right.
You're only gonna get negatives. So
Yeah.
yeah, no, I've also, I mean, I can on one hand, I haven't shipped 10,000 packages, but you've packed 10,000 packages too, Ryan.
Exactly. Yep.
We were talking about this about we have people who say they would like to get the postal service to come and to pick up stuff at their home because anyone can do that. But some people feel like they're bothering the postal
Right.
service doing that. I mean, how do you feel when people ask you to come and pick up their packages from their porch?
Like when I told you, we talked a couple of nights ago, and I told you, I love it because I see it as, my future.
Yeah.
And so, the carriers, they get over it. If there's a carrier, if there's someone that feels they're scared to have their carrier come pick up, they'll get over it. Just, make the request. It's so easy and for us, it's so easy. We just, we have our scanner with us. We scan it into our system and it's off. That's it. Give it to a clerk and it gets on a truck and it goes. Requesting a carrier pickup, that should be part of it.
We live in a rural area, so we have a large covered porch. It's like a low crime, so it's no problem. How does that work in an urban area?
I probably wouldn't leave a ton of packages out for carrier pickup if I lived in a really, urban area. And I would say, the majority of the carriers, when they're going to leave packages, they're just going to leave a slip if there's not a secure location and you have to go pick it up at your local branch. Wasn't it Wendy and Mikey? They left it in their car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They also live in a very rural area, so they just trained their post office person, yep, just look in the car if it's there.
Yeah, just look in the back seat.
It's unlocked.
What do you see, or did you see things that eBay sellers do wrong on their packages, either how they label them or pack them, or
yeah, some of the mistakes.
The biggest thing is the quality of the label. You need a laser printer. Mm-hmm. You need to be able to put a label on there and be assured that it's going to remain that way, intact on the other end. When it gets to the other side, don't put it in the middle of the seam where you just tape the box closed and then put the barcode right over that, because that's a recipe for disaster. I had a customer on my route that I pick up from him every day, and I could tell his printer, his ink was getting low. The barcodes were wicked faded, and I'm keying in the numbers. I'm trying to do my thing. And then one day I go to the box and he's got a few packages and they're beautiful, crisp new labels. And he looked out the window and he said, you got them all? And I said, hey, new printer, awesome. And he laughed. He was like, he goes, you noticed that? I'm like, oh yeah. Well, I do eBay too. So it was just funny. You got to invest the $70 in a nice Brother laser printer and just be strategic where you put your label. Especially where that barcode goes. You don't want it to get crushed and the barcode goes with it. I'm probably not the best one to say this because I don't do it that much, but it's so good to have a label in another copy of the address where it's going inside the box. I mean,
okay, so that really does make a difference to have a packing slip.
Oh, most definitely, because if something gets opened, if something gets torn apart and we don't know where it's going, or we can't even read the whole address, at least there's another copy of it in there.
I never do that. I am so guilty.
Although we've been told that is very smart to do. We just don't do that. We probably should.
I know. It's something, it would just have to be another part of your routine, You have to make it more of a habit than anything else, just like you do everything else.
Now, do we see a lot of comments or questions about weighing the item? Where does that happen? Like if I don't weigh something correctly, so I don't put the right postage on it, where does that get caught? Does that get caught by you or the...
I would say majority of the time it gets caught by the clerk, whoever's receiving the packages at the office where it's going to be, delivered from.
Right.
So, you send something out to, Georgia, and at that office in Georgia, the clerk's unloading the truck, and wow, this, just happens to see the weight on it, and wow, this isn't 4 ounces, this is 2 pounds,
Right.
So, that's kind of where it gets caught from there.
And who makes the decision whether or not to send it back to the original person or send it on, but then it's make the person who picks it up pay the extra postage?
I think it's more based on the office. I think, each office may have kind of a set way they do it. All right, go give it to the carrier and put postage due on it, or no, let's just send it right back. It's kind of, I think it's more per office.
I do have a couple specific questions about like the difference between certain rates. Recently, they changed Parcel Post to Parcel Select.
Yep.
But then they don't have Parcel Select at the post office. They have Standard Post. So what is the difference between those two?
There is no difference.
Okay.
They are the same. They're just calling it the old Standard Post. I'm not sure why they have to have some difference in terminology, but no, as far as I know, it's the same.
So Parcel Select basically is only on eBay. That's what I've found. I can only see Parcel Select available on eBay labels.
Yeah, and that's ground shipping.
Okay.
That's what you're going to get if you send anything Standard Post, Parcel Select. That's just on the ground.
Right.
There's some things that can't go up in the air. So that's where that comes into play as well.
Okay, so restricted items that can't go in a plane. Yeah.
Yep.
And also, like, people always have this question, and then I also have this question about media mail. So I've sent actual books through media mail, and I've had trouble with it.
And these are books that we've sold on Amazon.
Yeah, Amazon books where I'm like, this is a book with printing and, like it's an actual book, and I still had trouble with it. So I'm just wondering, like, what is the actual rule? Like, when they open up that book, how are they determining it?
What I know is that the biggest part is it doesn't have any advertising in it. It can't have ads of any sort. So like a magazine I don't believe that can go media mail.
Okay.
Even though it's considered it is a form of media, but nothing that has advertisement in it.
Okay.
And that's about as good as I know. I mean, I ship books media mail once in a while, and I've never had an issue with it. So is it mainly through the Amazon? Because I know you guys have been selling books lately.
I sold a book recently. I mean, this is just something we'll probably talk about later, but I sent a book, just wrapped it in a poly mailer, and it's getting sent back to me. And I haven't gotten it back yet, but I'm just that's weird.
So we actually aren't sure if it's because
their address
there
is
was
messed
some
up.
other kind of its problem. Our concern was, or our question was if we had an Amazon slip in there and it was open, does a postal service say, well, it can't be media mail because it's
got a packing slip in it?
Because it's got a packing slip? Or?
Oh, I don't believe so.
Okay.
No, I don't believe so.
Well, I guess we'll see.
I think this will be an updated story, so we don't know yet exactly the problem.
Yeah.
All right.
So the other question I had was about regional rates. A lot of times when I'm like talking to the people at the post office, they're very confused about like regional rate A, B, and C. I've never seen regional rate C ever offered anywhere. Like, I didn't see it on Click and Ship. I didn't see it on eBay. So I'm like, how would I use that?
It's regional rate is, regional rate C I've never seen as well offered. I almost wonder if that's something out in the West, if it's, it is a larger box. So I wonder, if I've never sold anything that qualifies me for C. A and B is basically, it's like a zone map, and you're going to be able to get this box to this zone from where you're shipping from for a certain rate. And A and B, I believe, are the two different sizes.
Yeah, I use regional rate A like crazy. It's great.
It's big price savings, even over flat rate, just standard flat rate.
And why do they do that anyway? Is that just
Well, I believe it's them saying, hey, we're going there anyways, and if you want to put something in this box and it only weighs this much, we can get it there for a little bit cheaper than, just putting it in a flat rate box. I honestly, that's the best I can. It's just them trying to drum up more business.
Sure.
It's a marketing thing.
Cool.
Yep, it's smart.
Now, one thing we love about the post office and why we will fight tooth and nail to keep the post office alive any way we can, that is getting supplies online from the post office. It's the most amazing service.
It's fantastic. And if you order through eBay, you get them the eBay boxes, the actual eBay labeled ones.
Right.
But yeah, I had just ordered some of the flat rate bubble mailers, and I mean, I couldn't get those in my local office at all. I would go ask the clerks all the time, oh, what are you even talking about? I go online, I'm like, sweet, I can order 90 of them right now. I got a big box of them in my living room, ready to fill.
So I've never heard of the specific eBay boxes. You can get like USPS eBay boxes through eBay? I didn't know that.
Yeah, if you go onto eBay, you can actually order supplies directly through the eBay site, and it'll have the eBay logo right on the package.
Oh, that's so cool. I have to look for
Yeah,
that.
it really is cool. Yeah.
Huh. So do they do that? So does eBay have a really specific relationship with the post office, unlike Amazon, or does Amazon have the same kind of relationship?
I almost have to equate the eBay relationship with the post office as similar to probably what Amazon and UPS have.
Okay.
I feel that we get a good amount of Amazon packages, but when you see the UPS trucks out there, I mean, it seems like that's all they have on their truck is stuff from
Right.
Amazon.
Yeah.
You know, it's like they're a personal Amazon delivery service.
That's interesting.
The post office and eBay, they made some sort of partnership, and it's really, they've really locked down the exclusivity.
Right. And I mean, we love it because, man, postage is so much cheaper doing it through the eBay.
It's
site.
great. That
It's
discount is
incredible.
amazing.
Oh my God. I can't believe sometimes 25%,
Yes.
20%. It's like, why would you ship through over the window, if you sold anything?
Yeah, I hate going to the
eBay.
window. I'm like, no, I need my discount.
Exactly. Yeah. It's,
Is it going to get to the point where like the postal service will start to like compete with a UPS to try and get its relationship?
oh, I would anticipate that.
Huh.
I mean, there's, it's business in the end. It's competition.
Right.
We do have that last mile,
Yeah.
delivery service. So I think everyone's playing good right now. But yeah, I could see, them going after, Amazon business and trying to create a relationship there as well. Why not? The only thing about Amazon, I think a little bit different than eBay is you can get that Prime ship-in 2-day free, and it's like anything. I think there was like a gun safe on there before on Amazon. You could get shipped for free, like
It's like huge and heavy.
In 2 days,
yeah,
right?
2 days free shipping. I don't think the post office, we have limitations on package size
Yeah.
and weight. Where I think there's, I don't know if you can get a barbecue grill shipped through the post office,
Right.
at a reasonable rate, like you can through
Right.
Amazon.
We ordered a bathtub on Amazon once. It came free.
A cast iron
bathtub.
Yeah.
Oh
Yep,
my God, what,
yep.
600 pounds?
It was
Yeah.
free shipping. Yeah, it was. It was free shipping, and it was a freight. The guy like backed up to our house. It was amazing.
Oh, that
We're
is
like, can you
awesome.
bring this up to our bathroom?
Yeah.
I honestly don't know how anyone made a dime off of us on that sale. It's incredible.
Curbside delivery.
Exactly. Bathroom delivery. Do you have any information on how the post office deals with foreign post offices in other countries? Like, how does that relationship work?
We think it's amazing that we can like go and pick in like some auction where we are, and then we sell it to someone in South Africa or in Russia. It's amazing that we have a system that can work.
Right.
Oh, it's incredible.
But I guess I wonder, does a USPS like fly over to South Africa and they land, and then their trucks, the South African trucks, come out and pick it up, and then they take it from there? I wonder how that works.
Yeah, I would have to think that there is, the post office has a freight plane, that they probably have some sort of like international hub station
Right.
where things go from there. And with the different rates, it can take weeks, months for stuff to get to certain parts of the world. So there must be some sort of international hub where, it gets to a certain point, and then from there it's also branched out even further.
As the world gets more and more like tied in, being able to sell to people in China and all these other countries that are kind of up and coming now. It's
Oh yeah, and the reverse, being able to buy, I mean, it'd be so cool to be able to buy. Sometimes you hear these crazy foods that they ketchup flavored potato chips in China. It's like, wow, I can actually probably order that. But yeah, so it could work. It can go both ways.
Well, I mean, that's kind of, it's working now. That seems how a lot of the people that do I guess mainly on Amazon, but maybe eBay too, where they go on these websites like Alibaba.com, and you can buy stuff from a Chinese factory in bulk. Like I always say, like iPhone cases. You buy like a box of 500 of them, have them shipped over.
Right from China, because Because I think the post office has a special rate in China, like an e-packet or something.
Yes, yeah, you're right. Yep, exactly.
So it's it's the U.S. post office, because when I get customs forms from a Chinese, like if I order something in China, the customs form is a USPS customs form.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, they have a relationship there. So our next question is, where do lost or damaged items go? We have an idea of what happens to them, but what do you know about it?
I know that they go somewhere far away.
Well, I mean, wait. So, like in your case, if you get a box, do you ever get a box, or it gets caught before it's in your hands on the route, right?
With no label on it.
Yeah, I would say 99% of the time we get something that's at least somewhat deliverable. Now, it could be, someone ordered some sort of liquid and it got damaged throughout, its travel here, but it's still, as long as the label's intact, it'll still get to the final destination,
right.
And then we can get it out to the customer. But I don't know, is there 2 or 3 different places, this general part of the country, where items that are completely dead, they call it dead mail.
Dead mail, yeah. It's Atlanta.
Atlanta, okay, and they have auctions there.
Yeah.
Yes, they have auctions where they sell all our stuff, and then people sell it on eBay.
Hey,
I'm sure.
But if you don't put that label on there, or don't do it,
a second one inside.
Yeah,
I gotta do it now.
Yeah, there's got to be a way to program ourselves just to kind of make that part of the whole process.
Well, I know as we became, actual full-time eBay sellers, there is a difference between when, it used to just send, a package to somebody as normal people versus now we're like professional packers.
Yeah. I will talk about this in the other podcast too, but I packed it was 30 inches long, this radio. And it was heavy and it was going to Russia. So I was like, I really gotta make this thing super durable. And it took me 45 minutes to pack the thing.
Double box it.
Boxed it,
I'm ever since I started listening to you guys, it's all about the big bubble wrap. Yep. I love my big bubbles.
Me too.
So I go down to Lowe's and buy a big roll of it, and I'll burn through it. But in the end, you want the customer to get what they paid for, and it really does reflect. I mean, if you look at feedback, that's the biggest thing people will talk about in feedback, is how great or how poor the packing was.
Right.
Yep, people say it all the time. They're like, great packing.
So as far as the Postal Service goes, do you know of any big things coming up? Any things that they're going to pull out soon?
Any changes or anything?
No, honestly, they had their rate change in January, but other than that, everything's kind of status quo. I think they're just trying to get what is currently going more. They just want to keep the wheels turning. The click and ship program is really huge. There's regional people, district people, they're like almost salespeople, and if there's customers out there that are shipping currently with UPS, FedEx, and the post office has sales representatives that can go out, visit with them, compare rates, and try to convert them to using click and ship.
Wow.
That's cool.
So they've really stepped up the game. They're trying to be a modern day company with a century-year-old history.
Before we stop, can we talk about it's your own store and it's your own eBay, its process as a seller?
I have a small store, and I go out picking. I have a buddy that we go out on Sundays usually and go find stuff to sell. We live in the Northeast, so having all these antique shops and antique malls and thrift shops, flea markets,
sales, right?
Tag sales.
Yeah.
Even the Goodwills and the Savers, although that stuff's gotten really expensive.
We always talk about that.
Oh, man.
Crazy. I'll find stuff, and I love to buy. My wife will attest to this, that I'm a buyer.
Yeah.
And I don't really get attached to anything, but I just, listing it is just, I'll get around to it. So I take pictures of everything, and then I'll get stuff listed, and then I go, like you guys have taught me, 30-day, not even, just good till canceled auction. Right. And I just put my price on it, and I kind of let it ride, and hopefully, someone comes along. And then once it does sell, I got my 1 day turnaround time. I'll get the notification on my phone, and that night go home, do some packing, and the next morning bring it to work with me.
Now, what kind of stuff do you normally buy? Like, are you specializing or?
I keep on saying like you guys. I mean, really, it's that one of a kind, vintagey stuff. I grew up in the 80s. I love 80s stuff, so anything spaceshipy or just like kind of like, old made in Korea type stuff, the old electronics. A lot of stuff reminds me of my childhood. And that's, I had some depression glass. I know I saw it at my grandmother's house when I was a little kid. So, I see stuff and I'm like, oh, I can sell that. I'm buying that and selling it, and I'll hit yard sales. I love yard sales.
Yeah.
So, and anything, trash day is free day. So unfortunately, we have a recycling program now in town. So it's not as easy to just find that cool old, washboard or something in someone's trash. But
people, whenever we talk about that, there's like a certain kind of people that seem to cringe when we say that, pulling things out of the trash. I mean, it's so funny to me. I see things on the side of the road that people are just too lazy to take to Goodwill, and it's just sitting there perfectly in good shape.
It just came right out of their house. It's not like it's dripping in like garbage juice or something.
Exactly. It doesn't have a salad dressing all over it.
Exactly.
All right. So you bring it home, you clean it up a little bit, and you go forward.
And
with it.
Honestly, if you go behind any thrift store like a Goodwill, it's basically a garbage dump before they
bring it in the door after that.
We have a thrift store in town that they unload from the big distribution center into the parking lot behind the building, and it just sits there. And so they'll tell we got a bunch of books, but it snowed last night and the books got ruined. And like, seriously? Like, I've never been back there, but I'm like, geez, what's going on? It's got to be pretty amazing. But I like the unique stuff. I like finding stuff that other people will also look at it like I look at it, like, oh, wow, that's so cool. I found this little Braun. It was a fan, but all it had was a model number on the bottom. I thought it was like some sort of personal hairdryer. And I ended up doing some research, and I plugged it in, and the thing was awesome. It was this little tabletop thing. It was the size of a Coke can. And I couldn't believe how much money these things sold for.
Yep.
And I was so excited, and I was like, oh, this is awesome. I paid $1 for it.
I know exactly which one you're talking about, too. I always look for those.
Yeah, it's fantastic. We have the big thing around here too, and definitely recommend people trying to find is the people that do cleanouts from estate cleanouts, because a lot of these cleanout people, they just have warehouses that they dump this junk in, and I've come across, I have this one that's right near my house, and this guy has a 4-bay garage, and he just loads it with stuff from cleanouts, and sometimes it's hoarders that buy everything as seen on TV. Their whole life is as seen on TV, and it's all brand new, still in the boxes, and it's all sitting there, rice cookers and hair dryers, and I mean, it's just wild. So yeah, that's definitely something to look into. Is who does your local cleanouts?
And you're the first person I've heard really put it in such good terms. The idea of you look for things that make you remember your childhood, and that means that someone else probably will think the exact same thing. And that's exactly what we do. I look for things that I feel like this emotional attachment to, because I know there are other people that will feel the same way,
Oh, yeah. I can almost every time I'm out picking, I identify with something from my childhood, whether it be toys or something at a grandparent's or, anything.
And the cool thing is, if you want to talk about capitalism, those are the things that will sell for a lot of money because it's got that emotional attachment to it versus just trying to find just a bunch of junk, like things at Walmart that I don't care about. I don't want to pay more than a couple bucks for that,
Yeah.
Oh, I would much rather buy, a vintage LL Bean sweater than go to Walmart and buy, Faded Glory,
Faded Glory!
Although I will say, people...
White Stag!
White Stag.
Oh, God. People buy that stuff, though.
Yeah, they do.
Which is so crazy. Like, I'll find, like, Faded Glory shoes, and I'm like, you know what? Someone's gonna buy those from me.
See, all right. I know you were saying, people buy this stuff, and I'm thinking, they buy it at Walmart. But you're right. Like, they probably would buy it on eBay,
They
too.
do.
Like,
I know, it's crazy.
I see it in the thrift shops are full of it around here.
They're full
so.
of it.
Although, I guess if you think the kid's being born right now at its moment, maybe they'll have that emotional attachment to White
Walmart.
Stag.
Fading glory. Arizona, geez.
Which is sad to
Arizona,
me.
yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
So when you talk about when you list your items, I mean, what is its process? Is it on the couch in front of a movie? Is it,
Oh, it's everywhere. Well, if I take my photos, it's always with my iPhone, which I'd like to get away from. I'd like to get a nice camera to do it with Wi-Fi, but as of right now, it's the iPhone 5S, and I take my photos. I got a little setup. Then now the photos are in the phone. I'll in front of the TV on my lunch break at work. I'll be eating my fruit salad and listing, I don't know, whatever, baseball cards or comic books.
That's so smart.
There. And, if I get to work 20 minutes early and I'm in the parking lot, I'll just throw an item up real quick, you just got to pick and choose your spots. And I enjoy doing it. So I don't really look at it as, like, this stinks. I got to list something. The descriptions, I like typing out descriptions. I don't try to keep them too long, but, I do like to describe accurately. And it's kind of, a little bit of like an art form almost. I think because the successful people, they're doing it the right way.
Yep.
So I can't believe some of these descriptions. I see one-word descriptions.
It's horrible. It's horrible. I can't believe people even sell anything.
Oh, it's amazing.
But I think too, the people that don't take time to put in good titles and description, you can see it in its prices. They don't get near the kind of its profit that any of us do. They put the time in.
Because they don't show that emotional, emotional tie to it. They don't show that, and they don't. That's like value. That's where you're getting that extra money out of.
Right. So, does your wife? Does she take part in any of the business?
As of right now, she's just a spectator.
Yep.
But she has expressed interest in helping out, because I went through a phase where I was buying a lot of old photos, a lot of ephemera, they call it, and it's newspapers, photos, and so she really was like, I can get all this separated for you, and I just don't know how I want to sell it yet, so we kind of like put that on pause. But
people love. I mean, we've done so well selling old photos and photo albums. I mean, it's kind of sad to see people throw out like family photo albums in the trash, but we love them. Grabbing them, and then people buy them. I guess they love that stuff.
Yeah, it's like I think it's same with slides too. Like I heard your podcast on slides, and I bought a ton of slides, and it's I think for art reasons as well. Definitely, there's a market out there for it.
So storing inventory, like what kind of size inventory do you have right now?
Pushing like around 100 items. I'd like to get up to like the 200 to 300 mark, but it just seems like once I get to 100, things start selling, and I can't I can't keep up. I don't know.
Yep.
But, so. I'll get there eventually. I tell myself every time I go on vacation, I'm going to do 10 listings a day while I'm not working, and I'm going to get that up there. But no, I probably have a couple thousand items in my house, like between my basement and my little home office. I mean, if someone's selling, surplus military zippers for different size zippers for boots or whatever, I'll buy them. I'll take scarves, $1 a scarf. How much for the whole box?
Yep.
Yeah, exactly.
So I love buying quantity of old stuff like that, and it's so I'm kind of a pack rat.
Well, I really give it up to anybody who has a full-time job and does eBay. I mean, it's hard enough. It's for the two of us to do this full time. I mean, I can't imagine trying to do both those things at once. It's amazing. It's
definitely trying at times, but I appreciate you saying that. I try to use it just as kind of a side income, just to help out. Like oil is so expensive this winter. Trying to heat the house, so it helps there, and that's kind of a little bit of a motivator as well.
Yeah.
You can put a couple bucks here and there if you just sit down for an hour after work and list a couple things.
Yep.
Yep. Absolutely.
Because that is a luxury problem if you're selling too much after 100 items. I mean, that's how it should be, you know? It's like put it up and it sells, you know?
Well, I guess the bigger thing too is packing. Like, and I'm so meticulous about my packing and kind of OCD about it that it takes me a while to pack items. So I get home from work at 5, and it could be 7:30, and I've packed 3 or 4 things. I dilly dally a lot too.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
Yeah. So, okay, so do you have any kind of goals or anything for 2014? Like anything you're trying to hit?
My 2013 goal was to get, I think I wanted 200 items up by the end of the year. So I'm gonna shoot for this. I'm just gonna try to double what I'm doing now.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. And I have the inventory, so it's not a matter of having to go out and find stuff.
Right.
It's just a matter of understanding what it is, properly identifying it, and then listing it.
Yeah. That's a good thing. I mean, we have the same problem where we aren't hoarders, but we definitely buy a lot of stuff because there's just so much good stuff out there. And it's just a matter of, we just organize it in boxes. Like, this is going to be all the toys. This is all the, it's mid-century candlestick holders or something. And then we just focus on that, we'll do these 20 right now. Yeah, let's do it,
Right. Yeah. And that's, I get into those same type of zones where I'll see where I've categorized a whole bunch of stuff and I'll be, all right, let me bang all that out right now.
Yeah, exactly.
Got to do it.
That's what you got to do.
Well, man, we really appreciate you talking to us. Will you keep an eye on this blog post and answer any people's questions?
Oh yeah, most definitely. Cool. I was gonna say that. Yeah, definitely. If anyone has any questions that I can answer as a letter carrier, shoot away. If not, you can always call 1-800-ASK-USPS and they're there to. That's what they're there for. That's the customer service side of the business.
Thank you so much. This is like an amazing interview for us. Yeah. This is no worries. So cool.
It was great talking to you guys, and if I can any way help you out in the future, feel free to let me know. I listen to you guys every week, so I appreciate what you do.
Thanks, Matt.
Cool.
Very motivating.
All right, see ya.
Bye.
All right, adios. Thanks.